Good evening and welcome to the Celtic Way reaction to Celtic's press conference today ahead of the Motherwell game at Fir Park on Sunday, as well as the financial report. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the Twitter or X handle, and I'm joined late tonight on a Friday night by Ryan McGinlay at the Ryan McGinlay. Long time no see or speak, sir.
Friday night under the lights on the Celtic Way, can't beat it whatsoever. Thank you. Just in advance, I can't see any of the comments. I'm currently logged out of the account that we used to set up these videos. So I've handed the controls over to Tony for this one. I'm sure he'll be fine in his very capable hands, but I can't see any of the comments that are coming up whatsoever. Please be nice to me. I can't really see anything that's going on just now. Can't see how many people are watching, so I'll need to get some live numbers from you, Tony, throughout the video. But yeah, happy to be on, happy to discuss the press conferences today, as well as the financial reports, as well as the article that I did surrounding those financial reports.
In capable hands, I think you'll find, Ryan, but we'll soldier on.
There's a space there, incapable rather than incapable.
Yes, no space. There you go. Hazel Finn, evening all. Good evening, Hazel. How are you? 25 people joining us right now, Ryan. So today, Celtic put up, as you probably would expect, Joe Hart after his announcement that he was retiring at the end of the season. That's 49, 50 people joining us. Right, over 50 now, so that's good. Thank you for your company, guys. We know it's a Friday night and we know it's a late one, but we've been a pair of busy people today, so we'll always come on. Just depends after we get the work done. So the work is done and we're here, and we're always here, as a famous man once said. And thank you for coming on and joining us. I really do appreciate it. Yes, now Joe Hart spoke today, Ryan. He was talking about the privilege of playing for Celtic Football Club and joining such a massive institution. I've written a spread about Joe Hart's comments that will be going up on the website later. Is that right?
Later tonight, yeah. Later tonight, yeah. Maybe about 9 or 10, round about that time.
Going up later tonight. But my thought is that it's quite an emotional time for Joe Hart, but he's detaching himself from it, and the time to be emotional will be at the end of the season, and he's concentrating on the job in hand, Ryan, which is to win Celtic a league in Scottish Cup.
Yeah, he's locking his sort of personal feelings away because he's locked in now for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
he's putting his professional career, that is dwindling down now. It's official that it's dwindling down. This is him, like these final 12 games plus whatever he's got in the Scottish Cup. Hopefully gets to the final, and that could be his send off, his swan song into the sunset, you would say. Yeah, he's been a complete professional about his business. He's going to work his hardest to get Celtic to where they need to be, and I thought he handled himself really, really well. I think he's quite an interesting player to listen to in these press conferences. I think he wears his heart on his sleeve. He says what he thinks. He's too old. I think he's too old to care about what he's saying now, which makes him quite honest and refreshing with what he has to say. And yeah, I enjoyed listening to him today. Gave his reasons as to why he was moving on, as well as what it means for the club as a whole. Puts a wee bit of pressure on the club as well, I would say, to go out and get a replacement in early. But great career at Celtic, great career at Manchester City, and a really, really a top professional. And that's been shown from the moment he arrived to the moment he leaves in the summer.
He's just a very, very likeable man, isn't he? And we wish him all the best in the 12 games plus that he's got in the Scottish Cup, and hope he gets the swan song to remember. I think you'll find those words I've written words to that effect, Ryan. Patricia Martin coming in. Love Hart. Thank you, Patricia. Appreciate that. Belly coming in. Evening. How are we doing? Craig McMeekin. Evening, men. Evening, Craig. How are you? Evening, boys and girls, says John Summers. Evening, John. Evening, Josh. Yep, thanks very much. And Belly saying they should have had a goalkeeper in already. I was on this morning talking about that. I certainly scoping one. And John Summers saying, let's hope his teammates give their all so Joe goes out in a high. Exactly. And Curly's LBBS. Ryan is on every channel today. I was just about to watch you on Ryan 1 minute, but I'll watch this first. He said so. There you go. So he gets around.
Still get that Ange ball in me. We never stop.
Yeah, we certainly don't stop on the Celtic way. But yeah, I mean, I think it made sense to put Joe up the day after his
Shoot you
announcement
in.
yesterday, shoot you in, and Hazel Finn saying Joe Hart always comes across a really nice guy. We're pushing the team till the end of the season. He certainly will. Now, if you want to see what Joe Hart said, the Q&A is already on the website. And if you like what we do on the website, we may as well plug it. Hit that subscribe button, guys. We can't do it without you. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. £4 for 4 months or £18 for a yearly subscription. Hit the button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And it's also sponsored by MPH Group, as you can see at the top, for all your plumbing, heating, kitchen and bathroom needs. We say thank you to MPH Group, who sponsor the morning briefings and the evening briefings and everything else that we do video-wise. They also have the Navien Boiler Promotion. You can check out the links to the description of the video for that. But yes, Joe, we're in safe hands till the end of the season, Ryan, with Joe. We'll see what transpires. Hope he gets the dream double that he hopes for. But consummate professional, and even Brendan Rodgers made reference to him, just saying he'd heard about him, that he was a great influence in the dressing room, and Brendan Rodgers said it was a great honour to have worked with him, which is high praise indeed.
Yeah. You sometimes forget that because he was talking about the title race back in 2014. And you think that's 10 years ago now that was happening when he was playing for Manchester City, when Brendan Rodgers was the Liverpool manager with Luis Suarez, Raheem Sterling, Daniel Sturridge, etc., etc. Crazy how time flies when you look at that. That's it feels like yesterday, and it certainly wasn't. And that was a bit of a rude awakening, as if time is flying by. But yeah, it's good that Brendan Rodgers has had that relationship because he's obviously admired Joe Hart from afar.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I seem to think that, or I seem to remember that he was linked with Liverpool at one point. I need to double check that, but I think he was linked with Liverpool. You know these rumour sites. They probably would have linked him at one point, but yeah, it's good that the two got to work together. It's good that Brendan Rodgers got to find out how good a person he was as well. And I think that was maybe one of the things that people were doubting when he came to the club. You're like, what sort of attitude is he going to come to the club with? Was he going to think he's better than every player or a better goalkeeper than what's came before? Consummate professional. He's done his job. He's enjoyed his time up north. You can see his family's settled as well. I was looking at the pictures from title day. His family look absolutely delighted with him that he's playing football. He's got 2 young children, and they've got to see their dad play consistent football as they're growing up, which is absolutely brilliant to see. Brendan Rodgers had a good tribute to the goalkeeper, and he'll be wished well, but he's got a job now until the end of the season. He's got to deliver another 2 trophies, and then hopefully he can enjoy more days. But regardless of what happens, he's been a terrific servant for Celtic in the 2.5 years he's been at the club so far, and all the best to him when he does leave the club, because he's acquitted himself so well to his job as Celtic's number 1.
As I said this morning, we fondly remembered when he does decide. Well, he has decided when it finally comes round. May comes around. So, yep. So Curly Zell BBS saying we never stop. As you said, he's hope that Celtic can get started tomorrow. Then corrected himself and said on Sunday. Yes, indeed. Now Brendan Rodgers was also talking today, and the Q&A is on the website, guys. If you want to have a look at that as well. But he's also talking about Ryan taking risks and playing football at speed and consistency, intensity and all that, which I think if you were to canvass the Celtic supporters, which is one of the threads of my spread, they would say that those things have been sadly lacking this year, wouldn't they?
It's a weird one, isn't it? He's talking about consistency and intensity in his game. I've not read a lot of these comments, admittedly, because I've been doing that interim report. But just from reading it and skimming the lines, and skimming what he's had to say, those are things that haven't been present in Celtic's game whatsoever this season. You're quite right to point that out. There's been a real lack in intensity, like they're saying that Brendan Rodgers needs to get more out of. I'm hoping that with these comments, these comments that are getting spoke about in the press conference room, they're getting echoed in the dressing room and at Lennoxtown and on the training pitch. The intensity needs to be heightened from now until the end of the season. It shouldn't need to take much, given the fact that Celtic are in the business end of the season and it's now or never. They've got to win every single one of their games. The two Rangers games included in those two, in that 12 rather. But yeah, he goes and talks about his Swansea side and his Liverpool side as well, and they were exciting teams. You want to see this? You want to see that side that Celtic had in the Invincible season. I know it's different personnel. There's only a couple of players that are still at the club, but that same sort of mentality, not the 4-3 against Motherwell. I maybe wouldn't go as far to say that, because that would be another basketball game, and that's maybe an early example of that basketball style of play coming to fruition under Brendan Rodgers the first time. But if Celtic can be controlled, get a couple of goals on Sunday, then I think it would go a long way into making people feel a lot better about things at the moment. If the Celtic support and those who are covering Celtic, such as ourselves, see something that we can cling on to in terms of a good performance, that intensity, and then turn that into consistency, then I think nobody will be complaining whatsoever.
I hope the players do listen to what he said today then and start taking those risks with the forward passes that he was talking about at speed and at tempo, which he always talks about. And because I make the point, you'll read it in the spread, guys, that's coming out tomorrow, that I think the Celtic supporters would say Celtic this season, the build-up play and the style has been pedestrian, mundane, laborious, and this is me quoting from my article, say, for want of a better word, it's been boring, hasn't it? You know, and I
that
don't
number
think,
of times this season, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and I don't think you can argue with that. You know, at times it's, you know, but Brendan was making the point. Brendan was making the point, and amongst that, there's been some good stuff, and it's fine to highlight that. But you said it's been masked by the fact that the results haven't been there. And I guess at the end of the day, you know, supporters could put up with winning games like last week 1-0. They wouldn't be happy, but you've got to win it, haven't you? And he also spoke about seeing games out as well. He spoke about that. So all the things that you would have said to the players yourself, Brendan has addressed today. And hopefully, as you say, you see some kind of reaction to that on Sunday. Brown Warrior comes in and says Brendan loves a possession-based game. You simply don't get the intensity he's talking about with this approach. Brendan talks in riddles, Tony. Yeah, well, you've not seen that in evident this season, to be fair. To quote Brendan, death by football, and Tim Anon comes in and says it's been honking, which that's another word for it.
It's a word for it. Yeah, I would agree with the boring analogy, especially compared to the predecessors' play style and philosophies. It is a bit of I don't want to say a downgrade, because that seems like too harsh a word, but you know, because it's a good manager that's came in to replace another good manager. But the play styles, if intensity is what Brendan Rodgers is looking for, then intensity is not what he's getting from his players at this moment in time. I know he likes to go and praise them in post-match, saying they're a great bunch of lads, they're great, they're showing that they're clearly not doing what he's asking them to do, because he's asking for intensity and quality and consistency, things that aren't happening so far in any great waves this season. So it's up to them to really stand up and be counted for.
Yeah, Steve McGrory, pedestrian, mundane, laborious, is that our midfield trio for Sunday? Just like last night, he talked about nepotism, cronyism, et al. And I said, is that the back four? Brilliant, Steve. Love it. Thank you for joining us, fella. 210 people watching us, Ryan. Tremendous. Sons of Scotland evening, guys. Evening, how we doing? Now, Ryan, I'm going to let you take the floor here, because you did scout the interim report and you put an article on the website.
I just get my phone out for this one, for the numbers.
Which is doing rather well as we speak. So thank you, everybody who's read Ryan's report just now. Over 400 people have read Ryan's thoughts on that. Now you can just enlighten everybody who's maybe not seen the interim financial report and your takeaways from it.
Mm-hmm. So I could go with the key financial items that were at the top that I think most people have seen. Revenue increased by 11% to 85.2 million, an increase on the same time last year with the 6-month interim review, which was 76.5 million. recorded a 6-month profit of 32 million, which was an increase from the 28.1 million pound figure at the same point the year prior, as well as player registration profits of 2.6 million, which was a 0.8 million increase. So basically, to put it in simple terms, Celtic have £67.3 million in the bank. Make of that what you will. Make of that the positives that Celtic are in a good financial spot. The negatives being they've not spent that adequately for the recruitment side. And they do, and Peter Lawwell does actually go on to talk about that. So a lot of this article that I did this afternoon was down to Peter Lawwell's January comments, because I thought that they were quite eye-opening. Eye-opening is maybe one word that you could use. I know that different people are going to have different opinions. So what he said with regard to that period was the board's commitment is to strengthen and improve the playing squad in every transfer window. And although resources were available, we were unable to further add to the squad due to the unavailability of identified targets. This was disappointing to us all and never the intention. The January transfer window is notoriously difficult, as clubs are very reluctant to let their best players go at such a crucial time of the season, just as we are. Indeed, we resisted strong interest in our players from other clubs. It is notable that transfer activity in England was the lowest it has been for over 10 years, excluding the impact of COVID-19. A number of reasons have been cited for this, including the absence of suitable players and new UEFA regulations which impose spending caps. Basically, and to put that into simple terms, Celtic had the money, they didn't spend the money, but they're likening it to the Premier League that has a spending cap.
They tried. We tried, but couldn't get it. We tried, but couldn't force them over the line. And Brendan Rodgers said that as well, didn't he? That they tried, and
seems to be the party line that's going about just now. That one,
the clubs weren't willing to sell a bit like Matt O'Reilly and Atletico Madrid. I think
that's what we were worried about as well. Personally speaking, that we were going to talk about, new signings, and that gets spoke about as well. That player registrations are getting counted into some of the financials. So, that saying, and it's kind of like a cliched saying now that, he's like a new signing. Well, in terms of the interim report, those player registrations, those extended deals were like new signings because they're getting included in the overall numbers, which, is fair enough because they'll be on better wages and that in turn will be taken away from that pot that's sitting in the bank at the moment. But Celtic are in a tremendous position financially, but we knew that. We knew that because of the quips that were made at the AGM just a few months ago. Everybody knew that Celtic were in such a great and strong and stable financial position. They could have stuck their neck out just a bit more and ensured that this league would be not a cakewalk. I don't want to say that, but put yourself in the best possible position to go and win the league with new players. Celtic only paid for one player in the January transfer window. They've got a loan deal. I don't know what the wages are like with regard to Ida's situation, but you'd probably be a 50-50 or Celtic are paying a portion of his wages. Celtic didn't go all out in the January transfer window for whatever reason. They can throw whatever examples. Don't want to go through the excuse line, but they've given their reasons as to why it didn't happen, and it's quite disappointing.
AGSC text is apologetic financial statement, and that's good. A bit of contrition, but one word, Majowski. There you go. Craig McMeekin saying the statement tells its own story, a complete lack of ambition and leadership, in his honest opinion. So there you go. Brown Warrior of Celtic are here with a bulging bank balance. Price gets marked up,
I suppose.
And and Monty came in and said, "This is why you sign players in the summer window. Surely it'll never catch on." Monty signing players in the.
I think that's the thing. No, we did. Window, Or Celtic did. Celtic did sign players in the summer.
Signed the wrong players.
Players
that are not good enough to trouble the starting 11.
Now, speaking at the club anymore.
Yeah. Well, speaking of players, Cameron Carter-Vickers is available for Sunday. So is Alistair Johnston. I'd be more inclined to play Carter-Vickers than Johnston because of the nature of Johnston's injury. But the way the manager spoke, I think he's going to play.
Sounds like it. All roads lead to Fir Park for Cameron Carter-Vickers to make his return. Hopefully it's not another false dawn, because he did make his initial return and then get injured and he was taken off at half time, and that started his second run. You know, you look at Cameron Carter-Vickers and Rio Hatate. They've both got very similar seasons where they've had that injury. They've came back, they've had a couple of games or maybe even half of a game, and then they're out injured again. You're hoping that now one of them's fit, so hopefully the other one will get back fit and then be ready for the rest of the season. Massive news having Cameron Carter-Vickers back. He is, I'll use the cliche, he's like a new signing, he's like a star signing. He is, for me, the benchmark for defenders in Scotland, and I think he's one of the best defenders in terms of all-out defending, north or south of the border, in terms of influential defenders in that role. I think you're right. I think if you're going to play one of them, it would be Carter-Vickers over Alistair Johnson, purely due to the fact that Ralston's probably been the best of a bad bunch in that defence recently. He's not really done that much wrong. He provided the assist for Kyogo in that game against Kilmarnock last time out as well. So he's an able deputy, but it's at this point where if he's fit, if Cameron Carter-Vickers is fully fit and he's contributing to training, then by hook or by crook, he's got to play. He's just got to play. I think Celtic cannot afford not to play Carter-Vickers at this point in time. I know I'm kind of going back on what I've said in previous morning briefings, but if Brendan Rodgers is happy enough to fling him in to the firing line or to stop fires from happening from the Motherwell firing line, then I'm all for him coming back into the side.
Yeah. Now, it's not often we get requests, Ryan, but Brian Hutchison comes in and says, 10-year-old daughter Hallie wants you to both say hello.
Hail, Hallie. There we go. It's a triple H. I didn't want to be. I think it's a WWE podcast.
Hallie, they're saying hello, so we'll say hello to you and hail to you, Hallie. Hope you're having a lovely Friday night. There you go. So we're everything to all men and women in this show. We try and accommodate these kind of things. So have a good weekend, Hallie, and hope you enjoy watching Celtic on Sunday. So. Cheers, Brian. Thank you for that. Appreciate you tuning in. 270 people, Ryan, with us. So, all good. But yeah, I mean, I can only assume that Cameron Carter-Vickers is 100% fit because you just don't take any risk, Ryan, at all with him. And he's clearly proved to the manager that he's fit because the manager said hopefully he can stay injury-free until the end of the season, touch wood, and all that. So he's clearly passed in every kind of fitness test available, and I think he will go straight back into the side on Sunday.
That's what these physios are for, to check these strenuous tests. I'm just hoping the same is getting done, and I'm sure it is getting done for Alistair Johnson because I'm quite conscious of the fact that head injuries can provide problems long term in the future if you get too many of them. We're seeing that all too often and far too often in professional sports all around the world, wrestling, NFL, football. There's other examples as well. Boxing, you're just hoping that they're keeping him right as well. But if Cameron Carter-Vickers is ready to play, ready to step back in to that team, then I'm all for it. If he's passed every test that's available to him, if he's fit and firing and ready to go, if the only problem he's got is maybe ring rust, then the only way to shake off ring rust is to get back in the back on the saddle, and get back in the ring. And I want Cameron Carter-Vickers to be stepping back in that ring on Sunday afternoon against Motherwell. He's just that. We've spoke about this so many times on the briefing. People that tune in regularly will think we're repeating ourselves, and we will be repeating ourselves. But he is the safety net. He's the safety blanket. I think everybody feels that little bit better when Cameron Carter-Vickers is playing his trade for Celtic. You
see his name in the team sheet and you automatically smile. So Sons of Scotland says having CCV and AG will be a big boost to Celtic. And Brian Hutchison says, thanks guys, Hallie's over the moon. Appreciate that, Brian. Top man. Brown Warrior, sincerely hope he gets it right in the last few games. He needs to, talking about Brendan and Cameron Carter-Vickers coming back in. Sons of Scotland also saying hopefully Tomoki gets a start, Tomoki Wata. I'm all for that. Sons of Scotland, I've written about that this week as well. And so there you go. So give Cameron Carter-Vickers the armband, says Thomas Gallagher. Well, he's had the armband, hasn't he, in McGregor's absence. So we shall see what happens. But, yep, over 270 people joining us. Guys, thanks so much. We always do these briefings and we try and keep them, the kind of reaction to the press conference, try and keep them we always say to each other, off air, we'll go
10
for
minutes, 15 minutes.
but we end up going longer because you guys are also wanting to say as well, and we appreciate you being here. Don't think we don't. It's we know it's a Friday night, and we're working because it's what we do, and we appreciate you guys.
Busy day for Celtic, that's the thing.
Yeah,
Fridays are usually busy with press conferences nowadays, but I think that extra bombshell of the financial report was an extra thing to contend with. We had to reshuffle. That's maybe why the Q&As went out a bit later this afternoon, but we had to reshuffle and refocus our attention. One person doing the press conferences, the other person doing the interim financial report. But we're getting towards the end of it now. We've got loads of content on the website if you want to check it out. The links in the description and below.
Ryan took the short straw there with the interim report. I just hit him with the old Groucho Marx line. A 4-year-old child could understand it. Well, run out and get me a 4-year-old child because I can't make head nor tail of it. So, yes, as I passed it on to young Ryan, who made a wonderful job, and his article is flying on the website, guys. So check it out. Josh coming in saying, appreciate the show, guys. Hopefully a positive weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Well, myself and Ryan will be there on Sunday. We're both going to away games now, enjoying it. We were at St Mirren, we were at Hibernian, and we are chalking up the third one at Motherwell, so looking forward to that. Thanks, boys, says Damien. Hail, hail, yeah, same to yourself. Listen, guys, thank you so much. We'll call it a day there. We'll be back on Sunday, pre-match, live from deepest Lanarkshire, Fir Park, somewhere in the stand. No doubt we'll have
10:45, 10 to 11,
like
that sort of time.
Yeah, no doubt we'll have to contend with the PA system going haywire and tunes a go-go. But hey, we'll provide you with the team news and with thoughts beforehand. Pivotal game in the season for Celtic. They need a result. Might be 5 points behind. They might not. They might be might have a chance to go top of the league. You just never know how the weekend will pan out. But as always, it's result dependent. I'll always say that. Nice one, boys. Great show as always. Thank you, Sons of Scotland. Curlies, thank you. Have a good weekend. Steve McGrory. Cheers, boys. I'm sure you'll have appreciated the Groucho Marx reference, Steve. Kaiser. Oh, just missed it. Need to rewind. You rewind, Kaiser. Thanks for that. You won't be disappointed. Cheers, boys, says Jamie. Kaiser, hail. Exactly. Guys, thanks a lot. As I say, we'll be back Sunday. Sunday can't come quick enough. I was going to say I'm cautiously optimistic, Ryan.
Yep. Patiently optimistic, I would say as well. Looking forward to a day off tomorrow, but then back to it on Sunday. It's a perfect sort of weekend. Off on the Saturday, and then talking about Celtic and covering Celtic on the Sunday. Carlsberg could do weekends, eh?
And a couple of dogs have joined me as we speak. There's Bosnian Paddy and Bosnian Papa at my feet. There you go, guys. You can't make it away. They're away next, thankfully. Not cause too much noise. Polly Pittman. Her gran is 100 and Sunday, and she's been a supporter for over 80 years. Polly, give her regards. Excellent. Tremendous. We love that kind of stuff. Hazel Finn saying, enjoy your away day. And Craig McMeekin just coming in with a big mixing spoon. Palm on penalties on Sunday, Tony.
Try to wind you up, Tony.
Correct, that's his tries. It's not going to happen. It's Friday night, and the work is more or less done. 10 to 8 on a Friday night. We never stop, Ryan. Do we? It's what we do. We try and... but we do it with a smile on our face at all times. Or at least we try to, don't we? There we go. God bless your granny, Polly, says Brown Warrior. Excellent. Guys, thanks so much. Ryan, sterling contribution as always. Well done with the interim financial report. That's getting the traction that it should get. Appreciate that. Take it easy. We shall see you on Sunday, everybody.
Cheers, guys.